Hey there, my name's Niandra. Welcome to Mercy Commentary VODs, where I play competitive, then talk about my plays and mistakes. This is Lijiang Tower at around 4000 SR, it's a win, and these are my final stats. During this match, the hero bans were Rein, Reaper, Ana and Moira, and I was pretty interested to see what this would mean for Mercy. In this match, my second healer swapped between Brig or Lucio, and even though we won, it was really rough. Rewatching this VOD, even though I played fairly well, it's hard not to think that I should have gone Baptiste and that if my team had lost, my choice to stay on Mercy would have absolutely been the reason why. Overall, playing Mercy as a main healer can work, but rarely feels ideal. There's also lots of little differences in my playstyle, which I'll talk about later on. On King of the Hill, I always push up and damage boost whoever's furthest ahead, which is Doom here, to get ult charge rolling ASAP. Once my beam breaks, I let him know I'm not with him anymore because with our low healing output, I don't want him to think he has a pocket when he doesn't.
I'm being attacked.
Oh, what the fuck?
I play back to keep myself safe, but I think I needed to bite the bullet of potential damage and push forward so I could get my beam on our Doomfist earlier. I had tankier allies to my left who could potentially body block, and maybe Inspire was up, plus my health regen should be easy to activate if I fall back to the corner after getting my beam connected. In a lost fight, not healing allies can be worth it if you know they're gonna die anyway to avoid prolonging their death and giving them more health to feed. I applied this logic to our Orisa and Ryder off, but I think I could have gotten her out alive considering we have Sigma and McCree nearby, plus she hasn't recently fortified.
Thank you.
Our Brig fights the Sigma and I get back completely in panic. I didn't want to stay in this cramped corridor in case I got hit by his splash damage, but could have repositioned here to help Brig while keeping safe distance.
Fuck up.
Damage boost.
When running Mercy with a main support, I try not to Valk for healing, but with an off healer, I think it's absolutely fine. My idea was to do it early so we have AoE healing without having to wait for Brig to get close enough to proc Inspire, but I think I did it too soon because the enemy team is far away, which I should be aware of before ulting. Plus, we're just kind of slow to push up.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go on.
Enemies in our orbit.
Damage increase.
Back here in your lane.
Healing stream engaged.
Our McCree gets picked up by the graphitic flux and I fly up to body block him. I think when our healing output is low, pushing body blocks is pretty important because health regeneration can cover it while you keep healing someone else. My allies are slightly injured, but I push damage boost since it's just Baby D.Va left.
Weapon systems optimized.
I mainly want to use this corner for cover, meaning I won't have much vision on this doorway. In that case, I want to flip my camera view between here and here in case of flanks, since I won't immediately see enemies planning to push that way around.
Damage
Nice,
boost
perfect.
engaged.
Top left. Hey, Bobby, back on you, have it.
Healing stream engaged.
Sigma in.
Enemy turret ahead.
Top to our left.
We call out Torbjorn and let's use the statue to deny him and his turret line of sight.
Where does it
Burning.
Positioning here, I now want to focus my camera flicks left instead of right since we now have view on that doorway.
Resting.
Using Valkyrie and Rally at the same time might be a tad questionable, but at least it allows me to really push damage boost, which I hope will make up for our McCree getting burst down.
I want him top.
damage boost?
Sigma.
Cannot rest, just be healing.
Block my shield back.
Orisa dies, which leaves me without a beam target, and I have the tiniest delay in taking my pistol out. Normally it wouldn't be that big a deal, but Valkyrie is crucial when healing output is so low, so any chunk of ult charge I can get kinda means a lot. For the last fight, I go Baptiste. I remember asking myself, okay, why are we struggling? And low healing is all I could really come back to. My performance with him is super fucking scuffed because I fumble my reloads, and if you're a compulsive reloader like me, hopefully you can relate. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have queued for comp this week if I wasn't confident that I could play Baptiste at a GM level, which I have done in the past. Say I got put on a team with another Mercy main, if running her with an off healer wasn't working, I was worried we would just lose if someone couldn't play BAP. Our second healer changes from Brig to Lucio, and I decided to give the Mercy pick another go because of that, especially because no one had asked me to switch. Pharmacy is a pretty popular pick on this map, so I initially looked towards the sky as we approach the bridge. Weirdly though, I then forget to check the scoreboard after the 15-second mark when the enemy team is revealed on it. It's pretty important to do so here because this is a popular boot map. Keeping distance from allies is a basic positioning rule and keeps me safe, but here I end up falling behind and having beam downtime. I guess I should have just bunny hopped to here at some point since it is more cover than my current position and achieves the same purpose. Plus, as Mercy, I generally try not to stay in the same spot for long periods of time since my beam indicates where I am.
Much better.
Even though we have 2 shield tanks, I still want to use natural terrain for cover as much as possible because it doesn't have health and isn't see-through. Our Hanzo wasn't in voice chat, so maybe the group up command would have been better. Either way, if I'm running Mercy Lucio, I can't afford to stay back and pocket a single DPS playing away from everyone else. I keep my beam on our booped McCree and it breaks off other allies as the range between them exceeds 10 meters. Here I needed to realise the McCree was screwed and immediately get my beam onto allies that weren't heading into a pit. You can briefly see Orisa walking to us, but I keep my camera view focused on the allies in front of me, even though it is possible she could take damage while on her way. Orisa cries out in pain, indicating she was hit, and I just don't seem to care, even though Sigma would be in our Lucio aura. Mercy can survive flying through Dragon Strike if she's quick enough, and I was kind of worried my beam would give away that I was isolated, but I just kind of hoped I'd be fine.
Did someone call a doctor? This is not the end.
I'm really surprised I didn't get the shields from Sound Barrier here, but it shouldn't be an issue as long as I keep playing behind everyone. I don't get punished for it, but my beam placement during this Valkyrie was pretty questionable because I was scared to peek the objective. I think I just had to tank any potential damage if it meant getting my beam onto the critical squishies.
This is not
At the beginning of his Dragon Blade, Genji's slightly injured and I ignore it for damage boost since he's in our Lucio aura. Once the fight is won, I check the scoreboard and see that Hanzo has ult ready. Using this information, I decide to hard pocket our Genji while I can. But yeah, since I may have less opportunities to damage boost during a close quarters fight, I really want to push our poke damage before the enemy team can push in, especially when their healing won't be super high either. I position in a way that's pretty exposed to this left side, but it was intentional because I was watching it so I could call out enemies going that way. Looking back, not super happy with this choice because they have Hanzo, and I still think I could have positioned smarter while watching for flanks, like peeking it instead of being so open.
Let the dragon consume you!
I'm taking care. Damage increase. Let me get you patched up.
Barrier unstable!
You should be at peak performance.
I super jump, see Hanzo was critical, and for half a second use Angelic Descent, which slightly delays him entering my camera view. It's very brief, but with low healing output, it's really important to respond as quickly as possible.
So on a bridge.
I flick between damage boosting and healing our injured Genji, and that would normally be fine, but enemy Sigma is using Kinetic Grasp. I should be using that as an opportunity to push healing so Genji doesn't give him extra shields.
Your support has arrived.
Just careful of ult spam then. Sigma ult, worst thing.
Our Lucio says they don't have beat, and we're coming up to the last fight, so I immediately scan the scoreboard for potential ults. I note the Sigma ult is our biggest threat, and that punishes allies closely grouped together, which my team is currently doing in front of me. I should have immediately told my team that they were playing into it and to position slightly further apart. I'm gonna use Valkyrie and prioritise a single Genji with damage boost over beaming multiple allies. I think this shows how much I've gotten used to playing with a second main healer, because here it looks quite questionable, positioning especially. I also res Orisa while watching critical Genji get attacked, and I assume I just wrote him off or something, like assume I wouldn't be able to out heal it and just maybe I wanted the big body back while enemies were distracted. Really good comeback here, especially considering the enemy team got it to 99% before we capped. Our Lucio goes back to Briggy, and I got a little worried since it didn't work out great beforehand. I told myself, okay, let's give this a try, and if the first round goes poorly, just switch to Baptiste immediately. I do like the idea of using speed boost then switching to another hero, and it'd definitely be easy to do in future with Mercy thanks to Guardian Angel.
Nice, great pick.
I stop healing our injured Orisa to heal Brig because she's pushing up. This then exposes me to enemy spawn and I reposition right with some beam downtime, which is probably what I should have done earlier when the rest of my team did.
The objective is now active. Mercy in the...
I see we have two capping the objective and fly to join them, but stop when I realise it's both tanks. Even though we cap a bit slower, it's worth it to make sure my pushed up DPS is safe since they may not have a shield.
Don't stop now.
Our McCree uses High Noon. I want to damage boost it, but Orisa is injured with no shield up, so she gets my priority. I try to make it up to him with a body block, but once the Orisa shield went up, I probably could have flicked my boost onto him.
You needed a
About
doctor.
half rally.
I've got you.
Can't live like Tor Bolt or something.
Our Brig says she has Rally, and I warn about Tor Bolt because it does extra damage against armor. After this res, I'm going to briefly take the pistol out because I'm the most pushed up, but abandon it quickly. I've got ult, so unless we confirm the kill, my pistol shots don't benefit me, but can potentially feed enemy support ults. This is something I absolutely do not want to do when our healing is low, and we're particularly weak to a good Baptiste ult. I have generally been good with keeping my camera view moving, but I wish I'd flicked it towards here a few points while looking at my allies to keep up with the flank checks. Also, one of my positioning rules is to generally avoid playing close to allies, and I feel like I'm breaking that a lot here. There's definitely a few instances where I could be further back, which would make me less likely to take poke damage and keep allies in my camera view better. I activate Valkyrie for healing and position far away in the back. Enemy Sigma uses ult, so I fly forward to body block but cancel because I suspect I won't make it in time, which then just kind of leaves me exposed in the middle of point.
Let's get you that out there.
I flick my damage boost onto our Sigma after he ults, and sadly he gets stunned out of it. A part of me wishes I had tried to body block him, but getting stunned to the ground probably would have put me in a very dangerous position. Also, towards the end of my last Valkyrie, I used heal beams just for Orisa, and I often try to leave healing until my ult is over so I'll gain ult charge from it. I probably could have pushed that here because she was behind her shield, but I just feel a lot less comfortable leaving allies injured when we aren't running Mercy with a main healer. Okay, let's push up to the choke and try to prevent the enemy team from contesting. And there we go, a fun but pretty tough win. I'm very interested to see who gets hit in next week's hero bans, and hopefully I can do another commentary VOD if Mercy makes it through. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check out my Patreon where I do Mercy VOD reviews for $5, and have a nice day.